Unit 4, which is still on data, and we are still looking at 4.1. This is part 3, and we're looking at graphical representation of data. So we're going to look at 2 more ways of graphically representing data, and notice with each way we say, why would we use this particular way of representing the data? I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that your graphs have to be accurate. So I'm going to say that every single time I talk about graphs. Right, the first one we're doing here, which is really like number 3 from the previous section, is a pie graph or a pie chart. And the word tells you it looks like a pie. It's circular like a pie. When is this one quite good? It shows relative frequencies. So it shows the frequency of each category. Again, it's usually categories, but it shows the frequencies relative to the whole amount. So, for example, we asked people about what are their preferences in flavors of potato chips. So when you see the relative frequencies, it doesn't have to tell you how many people were interviewed. You can put that number on as well. You are going to draw a circle, and if exactly a quarter of them then counts as 25%, like the salt and vinegar. Then 21% of the people liked plain salted, and 21% of the people liked beef. And the greatest section was 33% who liked cheese. So as I say, you can also write in with each one the actual number of people, but it's the relative that's important. You can at a glance see most people liked the cheese flavor. If you do this with different colors, that also shows up very nicely at a graph. So remember again, the idea of a graph is after you've collected all your data and you've organized it and grouped it and arranged it and everything, you can now make a quick picture so that anybody at a quick glance can have an idea of what you actually found. Your actual data is still very important for doing any calculations and making any decisions, but the graph is a very good quick glance. Right, the last one we're going to look at is called a line graph. And that is usually when you've got 2 sets of data. And you want to see the connections between them. So let's do as an example, amount of cash available in a business or in a shop or whatever, in a particular month. Or even in a bank. So the one axis is going to be months. And still we're going to keep the distances the same apart. So I'm just going to say January, February, March, April. And this side I'm going to say thousands of dollars. And I've got a 10, 20, and a 30. So you're comparing the amount of money for each month. So let's say in January they only had $5,000, then it only goes in the middle here. In February they had a lot, they had $30,000. March was 20,000 and maybe April was 25,000. So you put the dots and you join them, and you don't draw squiggly lines like I do because you use a ruler. Now at a glance you could see you started with a very low cash amount. It rose very high in February for some other reason, dropped in March, and then rose a little bit in April again. You can immediately see it rise and fall. You can go back to reasons why that happened, etc. So that is your line graph.